I think when it comes to the fiscal situation or the debt, I think we are an island of calm, not only in our neighborhood, but we are an island of calm in the global economy. Because of the way the COVID kind of response that was done. There's a chapter that I've written here as well. It's very informative to contrast the response for you compare the global financial crisis vis-a-vis COVID. During the global financial crisis, the Indian economy entered in pink health, exited out actually with a triple whammy, double-digit inflation for 18 months, fiscal deficit that was about 3.5 times of peer economies, current account deficit that was touching 6%, and us becoming part of the fragile five. In contrast, for the first time, I think in independent India's history, we basically did not mimic the advanced economy. We thought for ourselves, what is the right, identified the COVID crisis as a twin shock to supply and demand, and thereby implemented policies as a very good balance of supply and demand. And that's why we have 7% plus growth with strong macro fundamentals. And that is, so we are the oasis of calm in a desert of a lot of I think that aspect is something that is must be acknowledged overall. But I think this is an area where the fund is working on, because especially some of the emerging economies are facing the brunt of two of the countries in my portfolio. Actually, after I took over, have gone through 8 programs as well. And so this is an area that I think the fund is emphasizing on. But a lot of credit needs to go where it is due to basically the government for really implementing very good policies. And I think that contrast is a study of how. So a lot more of that actually is required for India to think. And I think 2 elements are important, which is to never forget that economic trade-offs. For instance, that point of basically, if you're a labor-intensive, that's your competitive advantage. Basic economics tells you that the economic model has to be basically tailored to that. But at the same time, also recognize that if there are some of the boundary conditions are different, we cannot just be copy pasting, what advanced economists did. Just because there was a certain percentage of GDP, demand side stimulus during the global financial crisis, we do the same thing without accounting for the fact that our supply side frictions are far more salient, and we have a far different economies. I think these economic trade-offs, understanding they are important in fundamental thinking, but also catering to the boundary conditions. Because those of us who do sort of learn economics, when you build a theoretical model, your optimal solution depends on what is the boundary condition. And so catering to that, these are important for going forward.